Good morning, everybody. How is everybody's Monday morning going? Mine is starting amazingly. It is starting very, very, very good. I had a great weekend. I hope all of you did too. We are going to be live many times today, apparently. I'm going to go live right now to discuss Russell Brand's discussion he had with a whistleblower from Coca-Cola, pretty much reciting all of my content for the last 4 years. And then I'm going to go live talking about my best advice to Miss April Lauren in her delusions. And then shortly after that, I think Mark and I are going to go live and try to end both of our careers. We're just going to, we've got it. We woke up today and the ADHD is aligning where we're going to try to piss off everybody, I think. So that'll probably be about 2:30 or about, excuse me, is it about 2:30? We've got so many lives. So this one's right now. 1 p.m. will be me talking about April Lauren and giving her free, professional, expert advice on how to lose weight and keep it off because she clearly does not know what she's doing. And then Mark and I, like I said, I do believe at 2:30 Eastern time, 1:30 Central time, because he's on Central, we're going to say all the things. we're going to say everything we can say to put it out there to let people know what's up, where we're at, what we're going with. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this impromptu live. I just wanted to get this out here. This is only on YouTube right now. This isn't even on Rumble because I had something else set up on Rumble already. So I will be posting this up to Rumble, and I will be posting, and you know what? This might not go on Rumble. This might just go straight to Alan Roberts' Uncensored. If you are not following already, please do so. And you can also get, you can support by getting No Morbidity from Ambrosia Collective, Tiger Fitness, or Vitamin Shop. The Uncensored group is on our app. You get to use our app, track your nutrition, track your exercise. You get to ask me questions. You get to join in on live and pre-recorded workouts. I have a live workout today at 11 o'clock on my TRX right out here on my patio in Florida that I'm going to be broadcasting straight to the members of our app that want to join on along. You can also grab the Uncensored. You can also join Alan Roberts Uncensored on Spotify. That's where you get to view all of these. This live will not be on YouTube after it is done. I am going to download it and then I'm going to delete it from here because if I keep stuff up on YouTube, they are just for, if I keep true things on YouTube, they're going to delete it. So today, we're just going to get into this because I'm going to want your guys' help with it a little bit too. But where's it at? I'm trying to find where it would be. Brave tab, window, crazy. Oh, wait. That might have been it. That might have been the reason. So give me one more second here. There it is. Here we are. Here we go. Whoops. This is Russell Brand and his been loving the Spotify replays. Thank you very much. Join on Spotify. Alan Roberts Uncensored merch coming soon. I'm going for it, motherfuckers. Just so everybody knows, I'm done. Let's have this conversation. I was right. A lot of people were wrong. I'm going for it. I mean, people need to listen. I'm done pulling punches. I'm done watching what I say. YouTube has had me catering my language for 3 years. I'm done. I'm going to say the shit that people know is true. I'm going to not back down. I am not going to pull my punches, or I'm not to curate my words to protect people's feelings. We are past that point. We cannot sustain this anymore. They are coming for us. Like, people need to get this. If you do not try to get healthy, you are a detriment to our society. It is time. Freedom, my liberty is more important than your fucking feelings. My family's freedom is more important than all your lives. I could not give a shit if there was a deadly virus that came out that was deadly to everybody else but my direct family. You motherfuckers are fucked. I'm going to go to the beach, do what I want to do. I mean, I'm sorry, but life is like, that's reality. Us trying to protect every human life because, it's our duty to protect every human life. We are sacrificing society for people that don't even want to fucking protect themselves most of the time, because it's either people that are very elderly who are pretty isolated anyway, or people that have fucked up their own health that are in danger from this fucking cold. This has all been bullshit. And now this goes beyond what we're about to talk about right now, because Russell Brand and his guest are going to go over the stuff I've been saying about how the pharmaceutical industry is, in fact, in conjunction with the government, which is also in fact with big food, to keep you fat and sick and consuming and spending and profitable for them and sickly for you. You are weak, debilitated, immobile, fat, and dependent upon pharma and food. You are addicted to the food that makes you dependent upon the pharma. I've been saying this for years now. For years now. This, I was so happy to see this. I had a bunch of people message me like, aren't you mad that they're like reciting your information? Like, I'm just happy the information is out. I am happy the information is out. That is all. But here we go. We are going to go to Russell Brand. Pretty much reciting my whoops. Russell Brand pretty much reciting my data. We have to turn the thing off here. And yes, I've watched this motherfucker all the way through. So give me a sec. $6.3 million followers. Jesus Christ. You go, Russell. My God. Video has no sound. Thank you very much. Let me see what I can do. Thank you. See, somebody's looking out for me. All right, let's do this. Here we go. Still no audio, really? Can nobody else hear that? Still no sound. What the fuck? Awesome, it's your fault. Okay.
Can ensure that the algorithm will give you the nutritional content that you deserve.
How about that? There it is.
You begun to understand that big food and big pharma cooperate in order to keep you perpetually sick, that there is demonstrable science that proves that sugar and processed food are causing diabetes, heart disease, and cancer.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a while. Thank you, Russell.
unnecessary, inconceivable rates, but this data is not being acted upon because it's too profitable to stop. I had a fan.
Have I not said for years now that they want you sick? You are consuming. You are like, one of the funniest things is when you see these fat activists who are also anti-capitalist, like, motherfucker, you're the biggest fucking capitalist engine there is. You're consuming more food, more pharma, more resources, more healthcare than anybody. I mean, it's insane.
Fantastic conversation with Callie Means, a whistleblower and activist who exposes corruption in big food and big pharma. You got to stay to the end of this conversation. It's unbelievable. The level of revelations, the depth, the breadth of corruption is
the level of revelations that I've already said for years. Thanks, though, Russell. I appreciate it.
Very hard to comprehend. Stay with us to the end and let me know in the comments what questions I'd missed. When you say something like we're being poisoned, Callie, that sounds
We are being poisoned. They absolutely are poisoning you. There's so many endocrine disruptors and carcinogenics in food. It's crazy. You guys know that food dye is made from petroleum, right? Like it's so ridiculous. It's so silly. In America, a huge number of our ingredients are illegal in other countries because they're recognized as poisons.
Incredibly incendiary. Sorry, I should pass on my sympathies about the story about your mother's pretty disturbing and stuff. But I wanted to say that that's a very provocative thing to say. Now, I know that big food spend a lot of money on lobbying, and it appears that the relationship between big food and big pharma is a mutually beneficial one. That the kind of food that we're eating is making us sick. But I don't want to.
I believe I've done a live on that. And you're gonna hear me say that quite often. And I do strongly suggest that any of you, I am probably going to do a breakdown of the lives I've done on these videos because I found this so amazing. But I do challenge you to go to Alan Roberts Uncensored, every single one of you. If you guys want to help me figure out the lives for this, I'm going to basically break down their talking points and put my statements next to it because I've been talking about this for years.
To be hysterical or reductive, maybe too late for that now, but because I'd like to be reassured, Callie, that you have plain evidence that we're eating food that is bad for us, that is causing us diseases.
Well, I would say go to Walmart and just take a look at the average consumer. It's very clear that something that we're eating is poisoning the country. It's very clear that something we are eating is at a progressive rate too. Like, I'm sorry, but if you haven't noticed the incredible amount of fatness in general society, like I say this all the time. I'm going to be 52, and I've got a 4-pack rocking right now. I have a 6-pack in probably a couple weeks, and I'm in great shape. No medication. Like, I am anomalous. Like, I am an anomaly. To be in good shape at 52, I am an anomaly. There's going to be very little people. Like, when I hit 55, there's not going to be that many people. I mean, like, they're all going to die. Like, we are very clearly being poisoned. People look inflamed and in pain and sickly and addicted to food. It is absolutely addictive.
That are preventable, that there are substances in our food. In fact, that there is an overview around the type of diet that we should have that's irresponsible and it requires reevaluation. I know that this is your life's work, and in a sense, given your relationship with your sister, part of your family's dharma. But can you explain to me in
Sure.
using actual examples how there there is a sort of a kind of large scale poisoning of the American people that's
We're being
leading to
poisoned.
preventable illnesses and death?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Let me to dive into specifics. Let me paint it this way. I'm also a new dad, and that's highly motivating
Congratulations, motherfucker.
to me. And let's just look at the pure economics of a sick child. Okay, so let's think about a 15-year-old lower income child. Okay, and the dirty secret, and just from purely financially speaking, that child in America is an absolute gold mine because that child probably has prediabetes, which is from ultra processed food, probably has obesity, probably has high cholesterol, probably has high blood pressure. This is very common, right? 15% of kids right now have fatty liver disease, which used to be only a disease you saw in elderly alcoholics. So that kid, right, in the US is on Medicaid, and Medicaid pays out. The budget is greater than the Defense Department. This is the healthcare.
I've been saying this,
folks.
I have been saying this. The amount of money we spend on Medicaid and Medicare is unsustainable, and we are just adding to it. The amount of money that Americans spend per capita on healthcare to have the shitty ass healthcare that we have is unsustainable. They want you sick. Not only are they're not curing anything. We have the most expensive healthcare in the world per capita, and nothing gets cured. They just maintain you. As a former healthcare executive, I can tell you they do not give a fuck about making you well. They give a fuck about making sure you live to your next bill. They do not give a fuck about making you well. They give a fuck about making sure you make it to pay your next bill. They give a fuck about making sure they can bill you again. It is a very common occurrence at every skilled nursing, at every long-term care hospital, every morning. And I know this because not only have I ran these meetings, but I have observed probably hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 of these meetings, where the entire upper staff of a skilled nursing or nursing home gets together every single morning. And they go over the ins and outs for the day, meaning they go over who's coming in, and they go over who left and for what reason. Every morning, they'll have a list of people that either passed away or got sent to the hospital because they don't get to charge them for that day. And I can guarantee you, with the pressure that most of these people are under, the very second that somebody says such and such from room such and such passed away last night, the administrator or the salesperson or the office manager will ask before or after midnight, because that is the determinant on whether they can charge for the next day. They are not concerned about getting a hold of the family most of the time. They are not concerned about like how this person passed away or if there is any liability or anything like that. They are concerned about whether they can charge Medicare or Medicaid, especially Medicare, for the next day, because Medicare pays out many, many, many times over more than what Medicaid pays out per day. This is facts.
Chronic conditions. What does that mean? The kid's not going to die, but for the rest of their life, they need a statin for their cholesterol. They need metformin and insulin for their diabetes.
Yep.
They need inevitably Adderall,
Yep.
which 15% of kids are for their ADHD.
Why are we putting children on what is like the artificial, like the pharmaceutical version of meth for ADHD? As like if I have too much caffeine, I annoy the fuck out of myself for my ADHD. I can't imagine putting a child on on Adderall or something like that. It is ridiculous to think that we literally give children something that is going to make their ADHD worse, pretending it's going to help them with ADHD. I think half the children that Adderall helps with don't really have ADHD, and they just get help studying because it peps them up. It's, it causes them to be like they have ADHD. It's fucking crazy. This person's saying worked in medical billing, many specialties, can confirm. People want to pretend like I don't know what I'm talking about because they don't like how I present things. I was a healthcare executive for 12 years. I left the business literally because it's all about money. They don't give a fuck about people at all. It is about keeping people sick. They want you sick. They want you fat. They want you dependent.
They need Ambien because they're going to have sleep problems from all these issues. They're going to need opioids because they're going to be in chronic pain. They're going to inevitably have fertility issues. Male sperm count's down 50%, so they're going to need medication.
Male testosterone rates are
they're never
plummeting.
going to have erectile dysfunction, which is just constrainment of the blood vessels, which is basically the same thing as heart disease. They're going to be on all these pills, right?
Yes.
And the medical system looks at that, we're treating that person, right?
Yes, and they look at it as a win because when you think about the money to be made off of making a child sick, you get a child fat. Pharma and food makes how much money compared to if you have a child that is, raised on the vegetables you grow from your garden, the deer that you hunt in the winter and store in your freezer, or the hog you get when you go hunting. If your child is raised on whole foods and healthy and active and athletic and can take care of themselves and has confidence, and they're not on any pharmaceuticals, and you're not, going through the big food engine and you're not going through the big pharma engine, they don't make money for these people. We have a healthcare burden in America of about $4 trillion a year, total healthcare burden. And that is as of 2020. I'm sure it's probably $5 trillion by now in 2023. And I'm not even joking because we've added so much onto it. However, lifestyle-driven, avoidable chronic illnesses, people eating too much, drinking too much, smoking too much. And I say this in my content all the time, so it was very good to hear somebody else say it. That accounts for about 75% of that. 90% of all of our budget, all of the $4 to $5 trillion a year that we spend in healthcare, 90% of that, according to the CDC themselves, is literally from chronic illness and mental illness. Management, not cure, management. Chronic illness and mental illness, management, both of which are made better by lifestyle mitigations. About 90% of all type 2 diabetes, 80% of all cardiovascular disease, 70% of all cases of strokes, and 70% of all cases of cancer are avoidable by lifestyle changes and lifestyle mitigation versus pharmaceutical. You change how you eat, you change how you treat your body, and then you don't get sick and you recover from being sick. This is not rocket science. This is reality. And instead, we have people that are just pushing food and pharma on these people, the artificial means on these people. I still don't understand why people, like, we have children being injected weekly with a weight loss medication that they have to stay on forever, when as a child especially, I don't even suggest no morbidity for children, which is our non-stimulant, non-thermogenic-based appetite suppressant that you can get at Ambrosia Collective, TigerFitness.com, and the Vitamin Shop that is made up of 4 ingredients at their clinically tested human doses that, in fact, work on the biological mechanism of stomach hunger. They help uncouple protein 1 NAs from adipose tissue, making it so that your body goes to fat stores much easier instead of going to your muscle, and they help with your stress relief for your mental health. But instead, pharmaceutical companies are going to push $1,300 to $1,400 a month of a weekly injectable on a child instead of having them eat right. It's disgusting. It is absolutely, they want you sick, they want you fat, they want you dependent. I've said this for years.
That's what's bankrupting the United States right now.
Yes.
Far greater than defense, far greater than any other
Yes.
line item.
Yes.
These people that get sick early.
Yes.
And they're treated. Okay.
Yes.
So the medical system looks at that and says, you know, that kid is going to go to 6 different doctors. As I said, my sister, she didn't learn about the overall metabolic health, about ultra-processed food hurts our cells and shows up in all of those symptoms. She was a head and neck surgeon. She was going to devote her entire...
Literally did a whole, I've done lives on it, about how ultra-processed food hurts people and hurts their health. Done lives on it.
To 1 square millimeter of the body. 1 square millimeter, which she was going to do a fellowship in. And that's all she was going to focus on. That's how you rise up in medicine. You segment the body. So this is very profitable. That child who's going to have a ton of comorbidities is very profitable. And there's a lot of incentives to make this complicated. There's a lot of incentives to send that kid to 6 different doctors, to a psychologist for that SSRI, to a neurologist for the ADHD.
Which SSRIs are prescribed. SSRIs are prescribed to everybody. Everybody. How have we had such a rise in the amount of SSRIs, mood stabilizers, mood enhancers? Like, how have we had such a rise in all of these things? Therapy has never been more readily available, and we are more mentally ill than ever. It's the food. It's the food. It's the food. And it's the pharma that they put you on for the shit that happens from the food. The pharma drives people crazy too. Name me one of these medications, including the antidepressants, that doesn't have a warning on it for suicidal ideation. Name me one. I mean, there are none. All of them have something like, if you notice suicidal thoughts, contact your doctor. Like, no shit, motherfucker. I mean, holy shit, what's wrong with people?
ADHD medication, for the cardiologist, for the heart disease, these are all the same thing. These are all the same thing. So are the doctors evil who are prescribing that statin? No.
Yes.
That's the system they're in.
No. They know better. And if they don't, they should. Yes. Yes. Doctors that take part in this are evil. All of them. We need to completely dismantle the healthcare system and build a preventable model instead, a prevention model instead. The healthcare system is not a healthcare system. It is a sick care, money laundering system. They keep people fat because they want to sell the food. Then they use the pharmaceuticals to, in fact, launder more money. They don't even tell you how much this shit costs most of the time. They tell you what your copay is going to be. They don't even tell you that it's going to cost $1,400 a month. They tell you your price is going to be $50 a month. And then everybody shares in the burden of this by increased medical costs and extra billing to Medicare and Medicaid. We all share in the brunt of it. We are all being oppressed by the level of fatness and sickness in America, all of us. It is a danger to our liberty. The level of fatness in America is an absolute danger to our liberty because they want you sick, they want you weak, and they are doing everything they can to keep you that way. And when I say they, I mean the people that own big food and the people that own big pharma and the fucking government politicians that they wholeheartedly fucking own.
Although doctors are catching on to this. Doctors have the highest suicide rate and the highest burnout rate of any profession in the country. So I think they're getting in for the right reasons, but realizing patients aren't getting better. And so on the food company, I think what food's doing is understandable. You know, food is trying to make food cheaper and more addictive. And there's three main ingredients that we've shifted our diet to. It's sugar, which is 100x more sugar we're eating than 100 years ago.
That's not sustainable.
Sugar, added sugar really wasn't a thing 100.
It's not your genes. It's the sugar in the processed food. I have done lives on this too. Russell Brand and this guy, I thank you both. And I'm not mad. I'm really not. But they're reciting my video catalog. If you would like to watch the long form version of this, go to Alan Roberts Uncensored and subscribe and start from the beginning and watch all the way up. I've spoken about all of these things ad nauseum with data, studies, and everything, the government information, the data on all of this. I have gone over this ad nauseum.
100 years ago. That's a staple of our diet. Highly processed grains, which didn't exist until 1900, which is where you take the fiber off, it's shelf stable, no nutrition, and then because the fiber's out, it's a glucose bomb. And then this is important, seed oils. Seed oils are the top source of American fat right now. These were created by John Rockefeller in the early 1900s.
And the people that are pro seed oil will tell you that eating red meat's bad for you. It's just fucking pathetic.
1900s as an industrial byproduct from oil production. Not joking. Our main source of fat, when you look at the label, canola oil, soybean oil, this is an industrial byproduct that's much cheaper than good fats like olive oil, avocado oil, ghee, grass-fed butter, things like that. That's the staple of our diet. So this isn't a big mystery. We're eating inflammatory things. We're putting into our body. You know, everything is tied to inflammation. As I talked to my sister, she's looking at that.
Mark and I have literally talked about that too ad nauseum too. That's one of the reasons why our next product 2, has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties to it because inflammation is the motherfucker. That's one of the reasons why I eat broccoli sprouts a lot because anti-inflammatory agents. I control my inflammation. Therefore, I am 52 years old almost and can do fucking shit that most 20-year-old dudes can't do,
Inflammation usually was a good thing. It's the body coming to foreign things in the body. The problem in America right now is that 75% of our diet is ultra-processed fake food, which we were
75% of our diet is ultra-processed fake food. There are studies that show that eating more than 20% ultra-processed food for a long period of time have a massive impact on cognitive and executive functions. So there's a 28% decrease over the average of 8 years for eating an average of 20% ultra-processed foods for 8 years, right? So 20% ultra-processed food is a 28% reduction in cognitive function and a 25% reduction in executive function, like being an adult and shit. Perseverance, self-starting, self-awareness, logic, critical thinking, those sorts of things, right? So 20% ultra-processed foods for 8 years produces a decline of 28% of cognitive function and 25% decline in executive function of the brain. Many studies done on it, gone over on this channel, went over the whole study, I think twice on this channel. And this gentleman is saying that the American diet is made up of 75% ultra-processed foods. That's why we're so fucking crazy and stupid. People realize this, right? 75 fucking percent. That's why we're crazy and stupid. That's why America is literally seen around the world as the crazy, fat, stupid people. And that's true. I talk to people from around the world every day. My clientele base is not American. It is American in the rest of the world. It is about 50% American and then 50% people from other places in the world. We are the fat, crazy people of the world. It's just very true.
Are not biologically made to eat. Our body is reacting to foreign substances and causing all this disease. If you took out those 3 ingredients, sugar, seed oils, and highly processed grains, this is not hyperbolic. You would not have heart disease, which is the #1 killer.
Nope. Listen to this. This is true.
You would not have type 2 diabetes. You would actually eliminate, to a large degree, Alzheimer's, which is now called type 2 diabetes, many forms of cancer, infertility. All of these things relate to food, but there's profit, Russell.
Exactly. I've done, like 2 years ago, I did like a eat everything off the grill diet. Like if you are wondering where to start, if you can't cook it on your grill, don't eat it. Like grill your vegetables, grill your potatoes, grill your meat, grill your chicken, grill your fish. If you can't grill it, don't eat it. If you do that, if you just do that, you will get healthier. I guarantee it. If you eat from the ultra processed food now and you want the best, easiest way to start anything, drink an ounce of fluid per pound of your body mass, non-alcoholic, non-caloric, preferably. Non-alcoholic the alcoholic beverages don't even count in your hydration. But if you drink an ounce of fluid per pound of your body mass a day and eat nothing but stuff you can cook on the grill, you will be good. You will be good. It'll be healthier for you if you're trying to get to a healthier state. Trust me.
In complicating the issue.
Bloody hell. That's pretty heavy.
Bloody hell.
I was thinking then, Callie, about how, like, in sort of pre-civilized, as they were known, human cultures, we would totemize the plants that we required in order to survive, or the animals that we hunted in order to survive. They would be sacred and divine, and we would have a explicitly sacred, if such a thing is possible, relationship with them. We would worship and revere them. Now that we live in these vast monocultures where animals are slaughtered en masse, where crops are grown en masse and highly processed, we have become like the food that we eat. We are what we eat. We are a product. When you sort of spoke about that, you know, a 15-year-old child as a sickly gold mine that could be latched onto, lashed up and profited from, I can see how we are being farmed, how we have...
Oh my God, yes. We are the actual product. Like, people realize that, right? Like, we're the actual product. The product isn't McDonald's. The product is your fatness from McDonald's. The product is the thing that they get to make money off of. They're turning you into the product. Like, you are the consumption engine that they're building. They're telling you need to, like, they're telling women you need to slather all this toxic stuff all over your body, change your hair color with toxic chemicals, do all sorts of things. And if your shape isn't right, by the way, get these silicone implants put into your chest. You know, like, I mean, so much crazy shit, right? And then, oh, by the way, eat McDonald's. Oh, by the way, if anybody tells you you're fat, they're wrong. No, you're fat. You need to fucking change that. It's crazy.
Become a type of commodity. And to hear that just with the removal of those 3 things, sugar, seed oil, and highly processed grain, we could meaningfully alter the health of our populations, it seems to me that this is the type of legislation that should be immediately passed, that our farming practices ought to change immediately, that if government is good for anything, it's good for that.
Everywhere we grow sugar, we should grow hemp. Everywhere we grow sugar, we should grow hemp. Hemp can be eaten, used as cloth, used as fuel. I mean, it can be used as biodiesel. Like, everywhere that grows sugar, we should grow hemp instead. Even wheat. Anywhere that grows wheat. You don't need bread. Trust me.
But because what you're describing is so radical, Callie, And because today you're meeting with people in Congress, and obviously I wouldn't expect you to tell me anything that's private, what concerns me is that what we tend to accept are minor reforms, small victories, when what's clearly required here is a revolution. Those kind of interests with that kind of lobbying money, they're not going to go without a fight.
Yep.
That's serious power. You're saying that they spend more money than the defense industry. They're more profitable than the defense industry.
Yes, they are.
Am I fudging that? Like, if so, that's a very powerful interest to go up against. How are we going to do it? What the hell are you doing in Congress? And in your view, what kind of legislation should be passed to all of this terrible, deadly trajectory?
No, you're right.
I'm just going to say this. The legislation that should be passed is that the government shouldn't have any fucking thing to do with legislating how we fucking eat. Besides listing off sugar as an addictive substance, besides warning people that ultra-processed carbon, like the government literally has the food pyramid. The government is pushing the ultra-processed foods. Let's get fucking real. They're in on it. They're in on it.
You're absolutely right about that stat, Russell. And shockingly, and this just, I can't even wrap my head around, healthcare is the largest and the fastest growing industry in the United States, producing worse outcomes.
Whenever they're going to put this Ozempic is going to add $1 trillion onto healthcare. $1 trillion a year.
Usually innovation, I'm an entrepreneur in tech. Usually innovation is lower cost, better outcomes. Healthcare is higher cost, worst outcomes. And it's growing, again, faster than any other industry. I think we gloss our eyes over at the rate of healthcare costs in the US, and this stats are said a lot, but it's going to be 40% of GDP in 50.
We gloss over it because by design. They want you to gloss over it because they don't actually tell you how much it costs. They tell you what you pay from your copay. That's it, and your deductible. And then you pay your monthly cost. They don't actually tell you what it costs. Most sickly people spend way more. There's way more spent on their care, on their maintenance, on their keeping them alive than what they're going to put into the system. And then it's subsidized by everybody else. That's the problem.
15 years, and this is not slowing down. It truly is going to bankrupt our country, and we're becoming a non-competitive, infertile, fat civilization. I mean,
that dude just recited my content for I've said those almost exact words for years now. For years. It's so good to hear.
That is literally happening. So let's get down to the brass tacks. I think you make a great point. And my 2 points are this. There's definitely systemic issues, and let's talk about that right now. And then I think your viewers, and it's just amazing, a huge diversity of people are waking up and taking more personal empowerment, because it's got to be a bottoms-up revolution. But I want to make some points on the top.
We the people.
Because I think this is really important. A lot of people throw up their hands and say, well, it's hard to diet. It's hard to exercise. No. 25% of kids having prediabetes right now is hard. 45% of kids being overweight or obese is hard. 93% of Americans having metabolic dysfunction right now. This is hard. We are destroying.
93% of Americans have metabolic dysfunction. 93% have metabolic dysfunction. That's insanity. That is so, the problem is most people don't even understand what that means. That is terrifying. 93% of Americans having metabolic dysfunction means that the wave of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, kidney dysfunction, peripheral circulation issues, diabetic foot amputations, so many things, like people are going to go blind at a higher rate. The wave of illness that is coming is unsustainable. It is unsustainable, the wave of illness that is coming. 93% of America having metabolic dysfunction should terrify. That is a national that is the national emergency. How we have not, we declared a national emergency for a fucking cold. We aren't going to declare a national emergency for 93% of Americans having metabolic dysfunction. That is a fucking emergency. That is a terrifying emergency. People have no idea. That makes us so weak. that is destroying America. That makes us so fucking weak. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how weak that makes our country. It's unreal. Unreal.
Our country due to metabolic dysfunction. And there's actually very simple things we can do. So number
Yes.
one, we need to realize that we are playing into the game. And I actually met with a bunch of Republicans today. And if you remember, the Republicans under Trump had an opportunity to put a proposal down to reform Obamacare, and they had nothing. The reality right now is that the left and the right is basically just talking about marginal improvements to the existing broken system. You are absolutely right. Everyone needs, and I will say, politicians, I think, are waking up to this. It's not about slightly altering Medicare Part D. It's not about going into page 300 in the Medicaid law. It is understanding that the problem with healthcare is that every single lever that touches our health profits off people being sick and loses money when they're healthy. The problem is healthcare is the most employed industry in the country, and everyone from a pharma company to a hospital to a medical school, they make more money when more people are sick, which is exactly what's happening. Even insurance companies, which people think should want.
I have said this. The $3 trillion a year that we spend on fat people and people that smoke and people that drink, like, because that's what it is. It's $3 trillion of shared expense a year that we all have for people eating too much, drinking too much, and smoking too much. That's burden to us. It's revenue to them. It's $3 trillion of revenue to them. Not to mention the revenue that was created in the gluttony that got people that way. I mean, it's trillions of dollars. Like, it's amazing to me people can't see this. You think that people wouldn't lie, cheat, steal, kill for trillions of dollars a year? Trillions. Wake up.
Want to save money. Actually, now they can only take 15% profit margin, and by law in Obamacare can actually raise premiums to get that 15%. So they actually, since they're capped at 15%, want costs to grow, which is exactly what's happened in the past.
So everybody understands how that works, right? So insurance companies can only make 15% profit, as is legislated by Obama. Good job, Obama, because he gave them a gift. Because the more expensive so the only way for them to make more money, to make more profit, is they have to grow that 15%, which they're allowed to adjust prices to. So the 15%, we're going to cap their profits at 15%. But if it gets more expensive and they can raise prices, that 15% still gets fucking bigger. You know what's zero profit for them? You being motherfucking healthy. Drop all the costs. It's insane. The whole system is just fucking rigged to keep people sick and to fucking make money for big companies. That's it.
Decade. All that's happened is people get sicker, costs grow, and insurance company revenues go up.
Yep.
So we have to realize that one fact. And it's interesting. A lot of members of Congress care about this issue. A lot of them want to go up against their lobbyists. But actually, they don't even understand the simple fact. The problem is that incentive. So what can you do right now? A couple quick things, Russell. The most shameful policy in America, in my opinion, the most shining example of corporate cronyism,
this right here,
really evil towards kids, is the fact that the USDA, the most influential health organization and food organization in the country, and I would probably the world, they recommend 10% added sugar for 2-year-olds and up. They, in the USDA federal nutrition guidelines, guide up to 10% added sugar for an American 2 years and up.
Sugar's an addictive substance.
Absolutely shameful. Sugar is a highly addictive drug. There's big difference.
Somebody else said it. Somebody else finally fucking said it. Sugar is a highly addictive drug. We have so many people that are addicted to sugar. Product 2 is going to help with this. Product 2 will help people defeat their sugar addiction. Product 2 will absolutely help with it. Not beat it, but manage it. Because once you are addicted, you're always addicted. It's like I'm always going to be a binge eater. I haven't binged in over 2 years, but I'm still a binge eater. And I worry about it every day. Like I'm an alcoholic. Because it is a problem like being an alcoholic. It is like an addiction. So you have to treat it that way. Same thing for sugar.
Between stronger drugs like heroin.
I have said forever people should treat sugar like they treat with the same care that they treat alcohol.
But when you do brain imaging scans, the dopamine release is very similar to any other drug like that. And we're normalizing that. And the government is actually saying it's okay for two-year-olds, 10% of their diet to be added sugar. That could be changed
Disgusting.
tomorrow. But why is it that way? 95% of the folks in 2020 who made the nutritional guidelines had a conflict of interest directly paid by food and or pharma companies.
I've said this before
and now,
too.
in 2025, in the administration for President Biden on the the updated nutrition guidelines, Dr. Fatima Stanford, who you've talked about, the Harvard obesity doctor who said obesity is genetic and not the result of food.
I've done videos on her too, because she's actually one of the people that helped create Wegovy and Ozempic. It's like a massive, and I mean massive conflict of interest. She's the one that said it's obesity is about your genetics, because your genetics are what making you fat. Even if you diet right, eat right, exercise right, all this stuff right, you are still going to be fat. So take this weekly injectable that has a very, very high side effect ratio on it that could possibly cause thyroid tumors and many, many, many other problems that you'll need to stay on forever, that costs about $1,400 a month that you have to inject into your stomach, and only produces 15 to 20% weight loss in the course of over a year, which absolutely sucks. You'll still need to be on that forever to keep that weight off. But, oh, by the way, she works for that company, and now she's going to tell people that it's okay to be fat. And by the way, the drug just gets people to eat less, just like no morbidity. It just gets people to eat less. So if being fat is about your genetics, why are you pimping a drug that makes it so people just want to eat less? You stupid fuck.
You can't make this up, but she is literally on the nutrition guidelines,
It's
making
disgusting.
guidelines not only for the US, but that impacts the world, saying sugar, inevitably she will not reduce the sugar. So the key point here, Russell, is that for better or worse, Americans listen to medical authorities. When the Surgeon General in the 1980s said smoking was bad, many years too late, smoking plummeted. Philip Morris at the time was one of the 5 largest companies in the world when that Surgeon General's report came out. In the 1990s, we remember the food pyramid, which said, eat more carbs. Carb consumption went up 20% in America. That was disastrous. And then for better or worse, when Dr. Fauci told Americans to get the vaccine, I think it's close to 90% of people got one of the vaccines. People listen to what authorities say for better or worse.
Is that a true fact that 90% of you motherfuckers go get a fucking experimental gene therapy created in a fucking fraction of the time it normally takes by historically corrupt companies in a historically corrupt industry that had liability protection, so you can't take action against them over a fucking cold? 90% of you fucking people did that? Holy shit. Well, 93% of the country has fucking metabolic disorders, so Jesus.
There should be no guidance for sugar. We do not guide kids that they should.
Carbohydrates are not essential. There should be no, sugar, the grams of sugar in a day you need, of processed sugar you need, are fucking zero. Zero. The amount of added sugar you need in a day, the amount of added sugar you should have any given day is fucking zero, unless you are having it just for pleasure, because, it is an addictive substance, as I've said for fucking years.
Should have a certain range of cigarettes or alcohol.
Right.
The only difference is that sugar. I mean, am I in a bizarre world? Are we not being brought to our knees by metabolic dysfunction caused chiefly by sugar?
Yes.
I don't think anyone even disagrees with that. So why the hell are we recommending that? And we can go into others, Russell. Just the one other thing I'd say, getting to the food stamp issue in Coke, when I worked for them, there is a systematic, like the cigarette companies, just a systematic rigging of the institution of trust. Coke and processed food companies spend 11 times more nutritional research than the NIH. In the past 2 years, there was 50,000 nutrition studies done, peer-reviewed nutrition studies. Again, meeting with members of Congress today, they have lobbyists in their office every single day, handing them a different study. The only goal of those studies is to confuse the congressman. And I'll just close with this one point here.
But the thing is, the Congress people should be looking at, whole other video. I'm not going to get into a long thing about it because I'm letting them finish.
The policy solution is just to eliminate all nutrition studies. We are the only animal in the world that has systematic obesity, that has systematic depression, that has systematic diabetes, obesity, other metabolic issues. You don't have lions and giraffes in the wild dealing with systematic depression, systematic obesity. The only other animals besides us are ones we've domesticated. A wolf in the wild right, or some kind of derivative of a dog in the wild has 0% obesity rate, close to 0% cancer rate. Domesticated dogs, which eat our own crap and the processed crap we make, have more than a 50% cancer rate.
Yep.
Okay, there's no animals except us, and the only difference between us and other animals is we have experts telling kids to sit in desks all day in sunless rooms, not moving when they're made to move. Learning from the teacher and eating processed crap.
Well, what
Yep.
did you think about that conversation? Let me know.
I thought it was awesome, Russell. Thank you very much. I only got a couple minutes to do some Q&A. I will be back later on the day multiple times, apparently, because that's what I do today, is just do lives. But let's see here. I hope everybody understands that, like, I really do. Like, I was joking around, like, oh, they recited my content. But please do follow me on Alan Roberts Uncensored on Spotify. I have been talking about that stuff for 3 years now, but please do follow me, Alan Roberts Uncensored on Spotify. You can also follow me on Rumble at Alan Roberts, and this will be up there. I am taking this down from here, obviously, because if I keep it on YouTube, they will just strike this because somehow it's medical misinformation, blah, 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 all that stupid shit. So I am down 20 pounds since January. That is out fucking standing. Good job. If in the UK, the people who are 60% disabled or deceased get paid from the government. How are you 60% deceased? It really started to add up from what I've seen. Anyway, I'm sad to say some of my family are so bad off that they they are falling apart from diabetes and heart issues due to their eating, but they don't want to stop eating because they're addicted. If you can't tell me that people are addicted to these crappy ass foods that we're serving people, it is like, I'm sorry, I openly see it. Every day, we, Crystal, myself, the Ambrosia Collective, especially Mark, Tiger Fitness, we are dedicated to trying to help America and the world recover from this. People want to pretend like I am like in some way being dramatic about the danger that we are in right now due to obesity. Even after fatness and people being sick and having diabetes and having cardiovascular disease was used as the excuse to rob us of our liberty, to ignore our founding documents. It cannot stand. We, as the people, need to not depend on the government to help us get healthy because they are in the pockets of the people that are making us sick. We, the people, need to take it upon ourselves to help each other and not accept anything less than everybody try to get healthy. Make America healthy again. Have a great day.